another episode of the Fantasy Addicts Fantasy Football Podcast. We are coming at you live on Twitch.
We'll do it live.
We'll do it live.
And then we're going to throw it up on the YouTubes for you if you want to watch over and over again.
Is there anything more Midwestern than saying the YouTubes?
The YouTubes. Howdy, y'all.
I think it's as Midwestern as you can get.
Welp, I am your host, Mike, the Fantasy Addict, here with my co-host, Nikki B.
Also an addict.
Happy to have you back. Yeah, we're all addicts here. Watching a little bit of Monday Night Football and just trying to figure out what to do, where to pick up the pieces of all my shattered teams with my grade A draft picks. I drafted so well. I did such a good job picking the best guys.
After 2 weeks, it doesn't matter.
And now they're all broken, Nick.
They're all broken.
I was hoping that they would play a lot longer and win me games.
Just scouring the waivers now, huh?
But here we are. So we're all in the same boat.
No players and
no problem. No problem.
Right. We'll just make it work.
We're going to get it.
We'll make it work.
So let's talk about a couple of them.
Yeah.
So one guy I didn't have anywhere, Cortland Sutton, comes back with a shoulder injury. Give him some credit for being a tough guy, but gets hurt with a knee injury. So he's got just ice bags just on all joints.
Everywhere.
But you got to think that helps Jerry Jeudy.
This is Judge Judy.
Again with the worst drop in the world.
So he's going to get better coverage, but the opportunity is going to be there for Jeudy.
Yeah.
Other thing about Jeudy, did someone else on his team that's important to his production get hurt?
Maybe Drew Lock.
Drew Lock.
I don't know if that hurts or helps.
Shoulders locked up now. Huh?
Yeah, I think the jury's still out on Lock.
The Denver high-flying offense that we all hoped could be hitting a couple bumps in the road. But
so let's go over a couple of the big name injuries. I mean,
you
obviously,
just want to jump right to. You don't want to build it up. You don't want to talk about some of the.
I mean, honestly, the stream is only 2 hours. I don't know if we can get through all of them before the end of the stream. That's how many people got hurt. Sheezer with the early question here. I mean, does the pack look spectacular or excellent? I'll let Nick decide. I guess I have to decide. They look pretty good.
They're scoring points.
At least on
They're
offense.
putting them up. And
At least on offense.
That question leads us into another injury we've got. So Devontae Adams, stud wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers, caught how many catches? 100 the first game?
Give or take. Yeah.
Comes up with a hammy injury.
Yep.
So we've got him in our joint league. How concerned are we about Devontae Adams?
Very little. I guess the early reports are that he's fine, and hopefully it's just like a Hopkins situation where it's like, oh, he's questionable, but he's going to play. Oh, he's questionable, but he's going to play, and he's going to be as good as ever.
Yes, my fear with Devontae Adams is when you have those hamstring injuries, they tend to get re-aggravated now and then, and it's just one of those things that maybe that guy's back, maybe he's playing, maybe he re-aggravates it, maybe he goes out, then he thinks he can go again.
Honestly, maybe with his crapper this week, it was negated by another crapper from either Saquon going out or one of the other mini injuries there were.
Yeah, there were a lot of guys that got injured and then went out and it hurt you. Saquon, since you brought him up, I did take him in one league. I didn't want to. My better judgment, I was like, I don't know, man. He's on the Giants. They're not great. Yeah. He gets hurt. And
I made a mistake.
I made the mistake.
Yeah, I mean, you can't plan for injuries.
I listened to the world. The world said take Saquon at the second pick, and I did.
The problem is Mike Davis isn't the same guy. Or not Mike Davis, Wayne Gallman, I believe, is his backup.
No, actually, Deion Lewis, former Patriot, who then was the Tennessee Titans backup to Henry, a man who needs no backup.
But Deion Lewis isn't very good anymore.
So he came in. Let's give you kind of his stat line once he came in. He is on the top of the trending list on the Sleeper app. Deion Lewis comes into the game, and he has 10 rushing attempts for 20 yards. He has 5 targets for 4 receptions for 36 yards and 1 touchdown. So this was against Chicago, who has a good defense. That game was a weird game.
Pocket.
Not a lot of good going on.
Welcome to the stream tonight. Freeman is meeting with the Giants tomorrow. Yeah, I think that could really put a damper on, obviously, Gallman or Lewis if that happens.
Well, honestly, all these areas where you got a running back that went down, Freeman's just out there. He says he's talking to everybody. I don't know if I believe him. I'm guessing he wants way more money than he is actually worth and being a little delusional.
Make a totter. Don't think I'll be dropping fab on Saquon's replacement, but that O-line is yikes.
I would tend to agree. Again, I think Deion Lewis you can take a shot on. He should get some volume if he's the guy.
Well, I think that was kind of my point earlier. There's no good replacement for him.
Yeah, we actually talked about Gallman being inactive he was just a healthy scratch, I believe, for that game. So.
Well, and the point I was making when I said Mike Davis earlier was CMC is also out for probably an extended time.
This is my nightmare.
Christian, no.
He is
Christian,
your team. He is your team.
Oh, I had just taken him, and he was the foundation, and I just built like a Jenga tower on top of it. And as long as he stayed healthy, we could really compete. Oh, no.
At least Mahomes had a huge day yesterday.
Oh, no. Tonight going into this game, I needed the Saints defense to outproduce Alvin Kamara for me to win in that league, and doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Yeah, no, probably that's what I was saying. Davis, I'm not rushing on to pick up Mike Davis either.
So Davis came in. Let me give you his numbers. I believe, and I'll double check it, but I believe he had 6 targets for 6 receptions.
I think over here he's got eight receptions on 8 targets for 74 yards.
Yeah. So he finished with some points.
In the passing game, that's great, but they were down a lot early, and I don't think you're going to get that same game script in the future. And he's just not that good.
I think they're going to be down. You don't necessarily think of him as a receiving back, but he caught the ball in that game.
He's still in the Bears jersey in his profile
You're
picture.
saying there's a chance. Hey,
So
once you got the Bears jersey, you don't take it off. Come on now.
Yeah, I would tend to agree.
Mike Davis is going to get picked up. It might be you. It might be someone else. You're going to pick him up, and the hard thing will be knowing when you can start him. But I think if you're hurting for running back, you need a guy, and you got to take a shot. You might as well pick him up if he doesn't produce after 1 week or 2 weeks. Maybe you hold him for a couple weeks, see how it goes. But I'm going to agree with you. I think that line's not very good in Carolina. I think that they're going to be down. They're going to need to pass a lot more, especially if Christian's not there to generate the offense. And their defense is bad. This was a bad weekend for fantasy football, not just because of the injuries. It's because there's no good replacements for several of them. It's not like there's, you have J.K. Mark Ingram gets hurt and J.K. Dobbins is right behind him. You're like, oh, that's a logical person to pick up. They're going to be okay. Yeah, with Jonathan Taylor, Marlon Mack, you feel for Marlon Mack, but it was definitely like, all right, fantasy goes on.
Yeah, we'll be okay. We'll be okay.
And now teams are hurting. Like, how many of the top 12 picks in this draft are out with an injury? We got Saquon's out for the season. Christian's out for 4 to 6 weeks. We got Devontae Adams, who they say is doing all right, but he could be out next week. We got Michael Thomas out with a high ankle sprain. Man, it's just, again,
keeps
Miles Sanders came back, had a fumble, but then came back, got a touchdown. He produced. So if you've got Miles Sanders with all these other guys going down, you feel good about that.
If you have just a quick break with an update from tonight's game. Saints are up 10-0. I'm guessing a lot of you are watching the game who are in here. Kamaro's got an early touchdown, 7 carries, 53 yards. And it looks like he's got a catch for 7 yards as well. So, and PPR, you got yourself, looks like 12 points and change. Latavius Murray not doing a whole lot. Traquan Smith, 2 catches for 47 yards with Michael Thomas out. Darren Waller with a few catches for almost 30 yards, so you got about 6 points from him. Josh Jacobs, slow start, but has a couple catches, so you got 4 or 5 points there.
So I'm leading by 0.01 in our Dynasty League where Christian went down, and I need Kamara to have no more points and the Saints defense to have to lose no more.
I've got 20 on the Saints covering the -4, and then I have 25 on both quarterbacks passing for at least 250. So a little action on tonight's
So you
game.
went with that bet on the 250.
Yeah, Ethan talked me into it.
Saints defense is good. The Raiders.
I know.
Ruggs is banged up.
I blame Ethan completely. Make it Todd.
How many bets have you lost? Just like all 90%?
I went like 4 for 5 this weekend. I made a little bit of money. Make it Todd. Carolina RB situation would also scare me with how much fat people will drop. Carolina is good to be behind cons. I think this is perfect for people who are patient and don't need. Actually, hold on one second. Dub Rugger, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Addicts. But yeah, I think the people that are going to blow fat this weekend on panic people. They're going to be hurting later on. We're going to be able to take advantage of it.
There's going to be people running out for running backs. People need to replace their running backs.
Mark Ingold season.
So Waller, I actually
for some goal.
need Waller to have. I need Waller and Lutz to combine for less than 16 more points.
Well, it's not going your way because he just got another one for. So he's 4 for 42. So he's got 8 points in PPR.
Start throwing it to Bryan Edwards, man. Give Nick's rookie some love. Let's just stop
as much
giving
as I
it
would
to
like
Waller.
that. But yeah, Ingold with the touchdown, 3-yard touchdown, because everybody started him. Can you tell me what position he plays? Exactly. All righty. So
Does he
moving
play
on.
football?
He does play football, actually.
Yep. Didn't have it.
Okay, so next up on our injuries, I think the 49ers maybe had the worst injury
They should
day
just
of
pack
all-
it up.
Yeah,
Call it a season.
Bosa,
Like,
Garoppolo. I'm doing these in order of probably relevance. Actually, I shouldn't do it. I should say Bosa, then Mostert, then Garoppolo, then Coleman. So
that's accurate.
I think that's about how important they are to the team.
Yeah.
So
well, Jimmy G's got a high ankle sprain. Also, again, apparently there's no low ankle sprains anymore. They're all high ankle
All of
sprains.
them.
When you sprain your ankle, it's highway or no way.
how much are you spending on Jerick McKinnon?
I like that.
lot.
If I'm taking my shot, so we'll just jump right into it. So Mike Davis, I kind of agree with what we were talking about. I don't think Carolina's going to be very good without Christian. He might get some opportunities, but I don't think he's a great back. I don't think he's a great receiving back. Don't let his reception numbers in that last game deceive you a little bit. Same thing with all the Giants backups, bad team, bad line. So Jerick McKinnon was a good talent. They wanted him to be their guy, and he came in, they paid him, and he got injured. And has just been injured for the past, 2.5 years, he re-aggravated an injury.
Yeah, but again, he wasn't that good with the Vikings.
He was a great number 2 running back. He was a bad featured back.
I would agree with that, but I don't think he should
and
be
that's what he
expecting
can be there. He can
complete
go.
replacement.
He can back up Mostert. Mostert may not play next week. It's still up in the air. He did come back into that game, though, so he might come back and play. But I saw a report saying he wasn't. I think he will.
Megatotter said Solomon Thomas came back with a torn ACL, too, just confirmed. Unreal. We'll check your emails, see if the 49ers are looking for more players. They're looking everywhere, I'm sure. And then Pocket, what better time for San Fran to get an ankle sprain to their QB and against the Jets within the Dolphins at home? Yeah, I think
the Jets just took their misfortune and they just kind of rubbed it on all the 49ers. No, the 49ers were going down before this game, man. They had Debo's on the IR. Jalen Hurd, their rookie, got injured. Ayuk, who's their rookie, actually played in this game. I think he had 2 receptions. You'd have to check that for me, but he's been nursing a hammy. Bosa that really hurts their line. Their line's still good. They got a lot of studs in that defensive line. Garoppolo, meh. All right.
I still think Garoppolo's that good.
Someone else can throw it 2 yards, can't they?
Make it Totter. I know you're a San Fran fan. What do you think of Jerick? Are you spending all your fab on Jerick McKinnon? While we eagerly await your
yeah,
answer.
I'm gonna get one for show.
Some other
I'm
popular
getting that
pickups.
for
Devontae
show.
Freeman is actually on our waivers in one league being picked up. Daryl Henderson. Are you buying into
Freeman.
Daryl Henderson?
Mozambique, yeah.
Not picking it up.
Not picking up
I
Freeman.
don't want it.
I have Kittle in 2 of 5 leagues. They do not need to bring him back this game. That field is injuring. Yeah. Maybe they have the bear syndrome where the field is just brutal. Is Kittle going to be back next week? I don't think they rush him back. I think Jordan Reed had a good enough game, and maybe he can make it through 2 quarters of the next one.
Someone needs to return whatever they stole to the old gypsy woman who cursed their team because they are dropping like flies, man.
Yeah. Just one right after another.
Are
you going to pick up Jordan Reed now after a pretty good game?
I think if I was gonna pick him up, it would have been last week. I would have got him when I had just the chance. Kittle was gonna definitely be out. But no, I'm not running out for Jordan Reed again. I think
so. 7 for 8, 50 yards and 2 touchdowns. Probably not. I think he's getting like 10ish touches a game. He hasn't scored once each game, or he has scored once each game. I think if he's got a touchdown floor, that's pretty good.
So
I'm not paying
all the injuries
all
that Jordan Reed usually gets in a season. Just this year have gone to everybody else on
right,
the team,
he's just
and
passing
he's
them
staying
out.
healthy.
That's their fault for signing him.
Yeah. Man, no, Jordan Reed though. Congrats to him. Great game. He's 30 years old, so he's not super old. He's athletic when he's out there. When he's healthy, he just gets hurt. But hey, if Kittle's not back and you're in a tight spot and you need a tight end, you can go for it. But we were talking about it's a tight end league this year, man. Tight ends were showing up. There's all kinds of tight ends.
Just a tight end day yesterday.
I picked up Hawkinson before this past week, and I need to drop a guy, and I don't need another tight end because I got Kelsey. But it's like, man, Hawkinson's he's
doing
putting up
okay.
10 plus a game. And
Didn't get a score yesterday,
but
but receivers are 7 up, so RBs can keep getting the work. Yeah, McKinnon could be a good pickup for next week. Most are out, Coleman banged up. Yeah, I think people are going to spend a boatload of fab on McKinnon. I think,
but I'll jump back in. I like McKinnon of the guys that are out there. McKinnon, the only one that I like maybe a little more is Daryl Henderson, the running back for the Los Angeles Rams. If he's out there, he had a bad week 1, might have got dropped. Cam Akers got injured at a rib injury. I haven't heard an update officially on if he's going to miss time or not, or how bad that rib injury was.
Okay.
So if he's out, though, Henderson showed up and finally had the game that you've been waiting for out of him. Malcolm Brown owners disappointed that Malcolm didn't have the big, blow up like he did in week 1, didn't get the same kind of production, didn't get the same kind of points.
Week 1, Sammy Watkins.
Week 1, Sammy Watkins. We tried to tell you we had a league where I think one of the guys in the league just said, how much we picking up Sammy Watkins for? And my brother was the one he watches the show, he watches the footballers. He was like, Week 1, Sammy Watkins not going to do it, not going to fall in that trap.
Nope.
It's a trap.
I don't want any piece of it. McIntyre Mullins has no problem fighting the tight end either. He was part of that. Yeah, Mullins was fine. He throws the ball. He's like, I don't know. It's probably a la Gardner Minshew, just slanging it.
Gardner just out there just drinking Busch Light, having fun, throwing touchdown, wooing the ladies. Yeah. That's what Gardner does.
He's like the quarterback Gronk.
Throwing it to my guy, Laviska. But Laviska didn't get a touchdown, but he did get some rushing attempts. So, Laviska, here's for you.
Do you see what you get when you mess with the warrior?
Should we have a moment of silence for the Falcons fans?
Oh.
By the way. Let's do that real quick. Just a moment of silence. All right. Sorry for all those Falcons fans that had to sit through whatever display that was yesterday.
You blew it!
Oh, man.
Somebody has to get fired over that.
I was just soaking up the Ridley love, just so many points, so happy. My boy Calvin really was out there getting the ball, getting the touchdowns. And it was shocking. That onside kick, if you watched it, was the weirdest, just spinning, just perfectly struck. If that's what he was trying to do, phenomenal.
Did you see his face after he hit it? I think he goes, nah. I think I screwed it up.
And you're watching, is that thing going to go 10? And it keeps going, and you're like, the Falcons guys are just staring at it what just jump on it, buddy.
It's okay. You can touch it.
You don't have to wait 10 yards, man.
No, you're good.
No one explained to these guys that are on the hands team
you can
how
touch
this
it now.
works.
It's fine.
And they don't, and it goes 10 yards, and then they decide to jump on it as the Cowboys. Oh, my gosh. It was
rough.
Such a botched job by the Falcons hands team. So for those of you that are not familiar with the hands team, I actually got to be on the hands team in high school. The hands team, so usually when you have your kickoff team, you got the guys that are blocking up front, and then you got the guy who catches the ball and returns it. The hands team is they replace the guys because it's usually big linemen who are good at blocking or, kind of the linebacker type guys. And they put more of those defensive back guys or the guys with good hands who should be able to pick up the ball or fall on the ball or catch the ball if it comes short to them. And these guys didn't use their hands. Hands team. Hands. It's called the hands team.
Use them. Uh-oh, there you go.
Disappointed!
Traquan with another big reception. 3 for 72 for Traquan now. So 10.2 points on PPR to start the evening. 7 minutes left in the second. I like those passing yardage numbers so far. I'm at 105 and then 85. That's
all right.
We're getting there.
Start if you're trying to get there. So also, again, I think we touched on Paris Campbell. He got the knee injury. Apparently did not tear the ACL, but I'm expecting him to be out a couple weeks. He's had injuries throughout his short career so far.
I think he'll be out longer than that, but yeah.
And so I dropped him in leagues, and what I did was I stuffed my benches with guys that I thought had some upside from the Monday night game because I was able, because he was not in my starting lineup, to drop him and add players who had not played yet, even though there were guys that had played I couldn't add.
Yeah.
So I threw Traquan Smith on a team, and I threw N'Keal Harry on a team, and I was kind of between Traquan and Brian Edwards, the rookie for the Raiders. And N'Keal Harry actually showed up in a PPR format. He had, I think it was 7 or 8 receptions. He had a lot of targets. Julian Edelman in that game was
insane. He had 8 or 9 catches.
And the catches were great. They were great catches. I was very impressed with Edelman's his ability to catch the ball, but that's what Edelman does.
Falcons fall for being stupid and going for 2 in the second quarter. I think both teams made questionable calls. I don't know why the Cowboys went for 2 the second to last score. It just didn't make sense to me that they would not just kick it through and then go for 2 on the last play to tie the game. I don't understand it.
Todder's got a good point. Breeze was talking up Traquan at the beginning of the year. It is his 3rd year. There are some people that believe in the 3rd year breakout for players. That's the time to grab them. That's when historically guys who will come out and have their best years, even if they haven't had great first and second years.
Right.
But Yeah, I think that, oh, man, the zero RB strategy. So some people will say, oh, that's why you got to not take a running back early in the draft because they get hurt. But then that's blown up a little bit by also Devontae Adams and Mike Evans, both, guys that were taken in the first round who were wide receivers, also getting hurt. So anybody can get hurt at any time. Or Michael Thomas. Mike Evans actually was back off of a hamstring injury.
Big old day.
And did,
at least over 100.
Tom throwing it to him. No Godwin there to take targets away. So I don't know if it'll be.
And go figure, they win the game. Throw it to Evans, win the game.
Who's that catching
That's the big
ball?
pass for Traquan.
All right, that's Smith. All right.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's good to see Smith getting in
there.
there.
Throws from Cam were excellent, too. Yeah, Cam's actually been impressive through 2 games.
Yeah, so I believe this is Traquan Smith, 3rd year in the league, and I grabbed him a couple of times, just hoping that maybe he could really establish himself as the number 2 on that team behind Michael Thomas. Maybe this is his chance. Maybe he gets going. So he's a guy you can glance at.
Speaking of that Falcons-Cowboys game, what about Dalton Schultz?
So Sergeant Schultz.
What happened there?
Man.
9 for 10 for 88 yards and a touchdown. We won't talk about the fumble. Okay, I talked about it.
You were worried that he was just kind of the backup to Jarwin and didn't have any hands, but caught some balls. Yeah. I don't know if I believe it.
I don't believe it either.
I'm not running out there for Dalton, but here's the thing.
24, tall guy.
If he can keep catching balls, there are targets for him in that offense.
I think he's already the number 15 tight end just with one good week, but that makes sense.
Are you concerned about Zeke with Dak running in the touchdowns or just a thing that you got to it happens?
Just a weird game.
I agree. So running backs that I am worried about as just a collective is the New England Patriots as a whole. Their first thought and second thought and probably third thought when they're on the goal line is we're going to let Cam run this in and maybe he dumps it off to, a guy that we have as a release valve. Cam is good at those option plays where he keeps the ball, checks out what he's got and then makes a little pitch or makes a little dump off. I think one of their touchdowns last night, he just might have been the fullback bounced out and around and he tossed it to him. So
it's like Breeze to Jared Cook for a 6-yard touchdown.
Sony Michel not showing up. I would drop him if I had him anywhere. Maybe I take a look at
Sexy Rexy?
No, the guy that's on the IR. So he's on a 3-week IR this year. We talked about, the injured reserve in the past has been 7 weeks, but this year it's only 3, so guys will come back a lot faster. Something to definitely be aware of.
Damian Harris.
I always forget his name. Hopefully he comes back and makes me remember it because I'm holding on to him in one of my leagues because Saquon's gone and I need a running back.
I'm not necessarily looking that way either.
And maybe teams start to figure it out that Cam's just going to run it in and they start keying on him and then Harris comes back and he can get some of those touchdowns.
Okay, I have an interesting one. The Bills' backfield is no fun right now. Yeah, I don't even want to mess with that at all. How do you feel about Moss and Singletary now?
So Moss was out there, didn't have a big game, didn't get the points I hoped he would against Miami. Singletary, they're both kind of hurting each other. They're cannibalizing each other's touches a little bit. I think there are going to be some weeks that one of those guys goes off and has points. It's going to be hard to trust him as a starter every week. In a deeper league like a dynasty, and also if you've got all your running backs are injured because you somehow were a genius and you got Saquon and Christian, you did it. You were going to win your league.
Oh, my goodness.
And now, you got to start Zach Moss, who you got in the 7th round.
We mentioned Minshew earlier. Keelan Cole high on the waiver priority right now.
Yeah, Keelan Cole, I don't know.
6 for 7, 58 yards and a touchdown.
Would you say he's the number 2 wide receiver on that team? Or is he still kind of
tied
for the 3rd? Yeah, I don't know if I trust it. I mean,
you got LaVisca there as well.
Good numbers for first 2 games, but he's a guy who could come out and get 2 points the next game. No problem.
12 targets through 2 weeks is good. He's got a touchdown each week. The defense has been doing okay, but I just like Minshew throwing the ball.
If you can get a piece of the Jacksonville Jaguars just so that you can talk about Gardner Minshew.
It's not fantasy Death Valley like we thought it was going to be.
Minshew is in the playoffs, I might have to do a stash. If he's in the Super Bowl, I'm for sure doing the mustache.
Megan Totter, but if Josh Allen continues at the clip he is, then running game hopefully opens up at Silly Committee. Josh Allen's the best running back on that team right now.
Josh Allen's a stud, man. He's been showing up. He's been crushing it. 0 interceptions so far.
That run that he had yesterday where he was just trucking defenders, that was hilarious.
I remember watching it with you.
Almost
as
good as the Herbert hit. I don't know if somebody saw the Alex Hitchens hit Herbert, and Herbert just pops right back up, and Hitchens is out.
We need more dogs.
More dogs.
Oh, I I think that those running backs could produce. I would hold on to them if I had them, especially with just the current landscape. I would rather have them than any of the guys that are coming off the waivers, more than Mike Davis, more than Dion Lewis, more than, I don't know, McKinnon. I still kind of believe in McKinnon. I think that if he can get there and really establish himself as like the second running back, their team needs to run the ball. That's going to be what they have left that they can do.
Despite my feelings about McKinnon, he's probably the only running back here I'm interested in. Besides James Robinson, if for some reason nobody picked him up.
Yeah.
Everybody has had.
There's some other guys we could talk about. Myles Gaskin, the running back for the Miami Dolphins. Jordan Howard and Matt Breida, both there, still got less touches than Myles Gaskin.
Still, through 2 weeks, Myles Gaskin has 11 targets. That's solid.
That's pretty good. Really solid. And again, his fantasy production, his points.
He had 46 rushing yards and 6 catches for 36 yards. So he had about 15 points.
So the first game, I believe this is in half PPR, he had 8 points and 11 points. And that's against New England and Buffalo. That's something worth bringing up, too, is those are not soft defenses.
Megatauer Pro Football Reference that I found last 2 years, Josh Allen's bad throw percentage was 20 to 25% all year. First 2 games this year, just 5%. That is an interesting little tidbit there. You wouldn't think that could continue. He's played a couple not so good teams.
That's definitely worth pointing out. It's just the game,
and they almost lost to the Dolphins too, which
so
them almost losing ruined my parlay.
They've played the Jets and the Dolphins. That's
5.5.
Such an important point to make when you're about to just sell the farm for Josh Allen. Again, if you drafted him, he's your guy. You're going with him, and if you didn't draft him, I don't know what you'd have to give up to get him.
I don't want to.
It'd be more than I'd give
I don't
up.
want to overlook him, but we're not saying he's going to be the number 1 quarterback all year. And I think that kind of rounds it. I don't know if I want any of these guys. Mo Alley Cox.
It goes for over 100 yards.
What did he have week 1? So
Mo Alley,
2 catches for 20 yards.
I think he just hit a great audition for his next football team that he's going to be on. I don't think that the Colts hold on to him if they got Doyle and Burton. And we'll see if Burton comes back and if he has any relevance at all this year. But yeah, Mo Alley, Gigantor out there getting some balls. So good for him.
Hunter Renfrow catching the pass here. Let's see where this. So Brian Edwards 1 for 22. Nelson Aguilar with a 19-yard reception. Josh Jacobs, Henry Ruggs with a target. Finally, Jason Witten with a catch. Go figure.
All right, I'm up about 10 points in my league where I'm going against Waller and Lutz. So I need them to cool off, knock it off. Stop getting any
quiet
points.
night for Josh Jacobs so far. With only 9, he's got 9 carries, but only for 25 yards. There's been a lot of hype. I know you're hyped on Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, the Saints defense is better.
You need more than this, though.
They're a good defense. Josh Jacobs, I need him to have, I think, to win that league because I started up with some guys. I think I need him to have like 115 points. So I'm just going to concede. I ran into a buzzsaw.
Good luck with that one.
I ran into
Good luck with that one.
The person who scored the most points in our keeper league this week. So I'm just going to take the L this time. And
what about Josh Kelly? 23 attempts for 64 yards, 2 receptions, and 49 receiving yards.
That's a great bring up. I like Josh Kelly. He's going to be, again, Justin Jackson has been out, so he could come back, and that might take a couple carries. But Josh Kelly's kind of established himself. He's more the bruiser. He's kind of the Melvin Gordon, the Eckler this year. Man, let's talk about Herbert coming in. And so, first of all, we get kind of I don't want to call it sketchy. But Tyrod Taylor just coming up with some chest pain,
It said chest pain, issues. And then they took him to the hospital. I mean, obviously they've had the fires and stuff in California, but I don't know.
And again, with the corona, like, you got to take it extra serious. And I saw the alert come through on the Sleeper app, and it was just a flood of men. Just, again, maybe some women playing there on there, but it was just Corona, the Rona. He got the Rona, not the Rona.
It's not the Rona, though.
No. So that's good. Yeah, and it really through sports, we haven't.
So they said only one person actually tested positive for the coronavirus, and I think it ended up being some Detroit cornerback or defensive back or something.
It would be Detroit.
Pretty much.
But anyways, it seems for sports-wise, there have been
Brian Edwards, another 20-yard reception.
People have gotten the Rona in some football. There's Rockwell Armstead still out, the running back for the Jacksonville Jaguars, who could come back and hurt Robinson a little bit.
I don't think they're gonna
I've heard
touch on
no
it.
stories about it being something that caused lasting issues for anyone, or no fatalities, nothing like that. So hopefully everything just keeps rolling, and we're able to continue on with football and all the other sports and things like that.
Yeah, it's impressive that they've gone through all this and there's been no positive tests except for this first one, maybe.
Yeah, and
I don't know.
I don't know if it's just the
I don't know if I
attitude that's
believe it all.
dying down, or if it's the real. I don't know. It's hard to know anything. What's true and what's not. But
Right.
hey, I'm glad that football's going on, and it hasn't been something that there haven't been any giant scares.
I mean, so far so good.
Yeah,
really.
no one's sounding any panic alarms or anything like that.
The rest of the people on my list, I don't think are of relevance. A lot of drops.
Well, you
though.
don't think anybody on the waiver is ever
Well, no, I think it's people that have already
If
been
it's
picked
not-
up.
if it's
Besides
not
maybe
Zeke, you're just out.
maybe Russell Gage is the only one left here to talk about if he didn't get picked up last week. But another 6 receptions on 9 targets for 46 yards and a touchdown.
If Devontae Adams misses time, MVS, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and Alan Lazard are guys that they could get some elevated targets. But I don't know. Last year when Devontae was out, the other receivers on the Green Bay Packers didn't just shoot up and have giant games and fill the void.
right.
That's the thing about a lot of these guys is they're very talented and good at football, and it's not like, oh, they're gone and now this new guy who's in his spot gets the same production.
Right.
Generally, that doesn't happen.
All right. Let's see. Looks like there's 2 minutes left in the football game. I'm excited to see excited to see that Brian Edwards is doing a little bit.
Showing a little bit of life. How's Ruggs doing? Ruggs
2
got
for
any?
42.
2
Ruggs,
for 42, all right.
just 1 target, but they've only
Or
had,
Edwards was 2 for 42, all right.
yeah, Edwards is 2 for 2, 2 for 42, and Ruggs is 0. Emmanuel Sanders still 0 for 0.
Interesting. I would have expected Manuel Sanders to lead the Saints this
Right.
game in receptions, but
Traquan so far.
all right, Traquan, if you can be a thing.
Who was
I
that
picked him
tight
up
end
in one spot.
Indianapolis? Yeah, that's Mo Alley Cox.
Yep.
I think he's probably worth a pickup as just a roster stash if you have an open spot and you need a tight end.
So I was in a league where I'd picked up Hawkinson, and I was looking at other teams to try and find like who needs a tight end. And I think
Right.
this year there's enough good tight ends that no one is like, even if you had, let's say you really believed in Gronk and you were just a fool, and he was the only guy you got, like you probably were able to get to the waivers and get somebody
So if
who you can use.
if you drafted Austin Hooper, are you looking at Jordan Reed, Drew Sample, or Mo Alley Cox?
I don't know. If those guys, I kind of like Drew Sample, but I think that Schultz is interesting on the Cowboys.
Okay, I think that's fair.
And that game, they had to throw, again, it was just a 0 defense game. What was the final score? It was like
40-39 or something like that.
yeah, it was a high-scoring game where there won't be that many targets for him in every game.
Right.
CeeDee Lamb showing up, got some good receptions that game, had an important one towards the end of the game. So good to see CD if you grabbed him. Yeah, I think that his future is bright. Everything has looked good with him. The way he just looks fluid when he moves on the field, like his crossing routes, he just I don't want to say glides, but it's just
He glides.
It's smooth.
So smooth.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go through some of our studs. That wraps up our waiver portion. I think we talked about almost everybody that's relevant.
I
this
think
week.
if you got out of this week with your starting tight end or your starting running back intact, you feel good. If you got Zeke, even though Zeke had a fumble, you got a couple of his touchdowns poached on the goal line by Dak. He put up some points, got through the week healthy. Miles Sanders came back, had a fumble, maybe a little bit of rust. It was his first game that he's played, but he came back, looked healthy, finished the game, got a touchdown. Kenyon Drake, how'd Kenyon do? Give me a refresher on exactly. I think he did pretty well. Chandler Jones wasn't super involved in this game. He had a low scoring total.
Drake had is this right? No, that's not right.
But yeah, I think Kenyon Drake was a guy I tried to trade for last week, was unable to acquire. But he should get receptions. The Cardinals are looking good. Their offense is flowing. Kyler Murray looks good. He had a big game. I think he had 30-plus points, maybe around 34 points. So I think, the Cardinals are an offense you might want a piece of.
Drake had 20 carries for 86 yards and then 2 receptions for 9. So he got you 10 points.
A solid day. No touchdown. He had
Nothing
a touchdown
great,
last week.
Yeah.
But Kenyon is a guy I think I still feel good about. Josh Jacobs is a little slow here, but you feel good if you got him. Hopefully he makes it through this game. Come on, Josh.
You can do it.
Tape those knees up.
Everybody make it through this one.
Yeah, I think other than that, guys that had big games, Aaron Jones would be the one.
Yeah,
Aaron
so
Jones
I got our
had a
list here.
monster.
Aaron Jones, 18 carries for 168 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, and 1 40-yard plus rush. 4 receptions on 8 targets for 68 yards and a touchdown in the air as well. Do you guys make anything of CEH only getting 10 carries? I don't like it, but they played not very good yesterday.
Yeah, it was a weird game. You would expect Kansas City to come out and just demolish the Chargers. Maybe they overlooked them a little bit. But really, I think CEH, again, he's healthy. He's going to get the targets. He's going to get some touchdowns. They'll use him more. That game it felt like they were slowed down.
And an interesting I heard on the radio today, they were talking about how good they thought the Chargers defense was based off of how Joe Burrow looked this week. So the Thursday night game, Joe Burrow looked very good, threw for over 300 yards, obviously on 61 passing attempts, but kept the offense moving. In week 1, he didn't look as good, but I think they were crediting that to the Chargers defense, and I think the Chargers defense is probably actually really stout this year, especially with Ingram in the middle. He's a stud.
Yeah, they're solid. And again, just to be in that game at all is impressive with the rookie quarterback who got the start. It's almost like I wonder.
But I don't think we can gloss over that. I think if you have people going against the Chargers, I may start looking at them as potential.
If you're making a close call between two guys, all right, that makes sense. But Herbert, yeah, apparently they told him, like, hey, you're the starter with a couple minutes before the game, which I think for a rookie could be helpful.
Could be beneficial.
So you're not sitting there, you're not overthinking it, you're not nervous.
Does Tyrod Taylor start another game for the Chargers?
They say that Tyrod Taylor will start again if he's healthy. I think you are a fool if you start Tyrod Taylor over Justin Herbert again, him being that close. And they could have won that game. They had a 4th and 2. And you knew that if you punted it away that Kansas City was going to come down and score. You knew, and they didn't go for it. Enough. It was the worst coaching call I think that I have. And again, I haven't seen every call of every game, but that was a horrible call. I can't believe you did not go for it. You're going to give it to Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs and think that they can't come score on you. Like, you got cocky, your defense had been good, but that was a blown call, a terrible job by their coaching staff.
It's like Zay Jones with a 15-yard reception for a touchdown. So,
all right, as long as it's not Waller, just stop. Don't give it to Waller anymore.
The former Bill. The ball doesn't look like it moved. And
I had Zay Jones on my dynasty bench for a little bit of time, but I wouldn't be running out for Zay Jones either.
Yeah, no, he was a thing 2.5 years ago, and now
what was he even?
Rest in pieces. All right, so next, Calvin Ridley, 7 for 10.
Oh, thank you.
7 catches, 109 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Calvin, I believed, and he's shown up. Oh, it's been so good to have Calvin on a team.
Next on the list, Leonard Fournette, 12 carries, 103 yards rushing.
We're not going to spend 15 minutes on Calvin? I got more on Calvin.
No, Calvin's good. Start your Calvins. Leonard Fournette, surprise here. 5 targets, 4 catches for 13 yards, so not a ton of passing yards.
Oh, man. Let's talk about Rojo and Fournette for a second. Rojo had a fumble. Arians just, Bruce Arians, you can't play football if you fumble.
Yeah.
And Fournette comes in.
I told you it's a Brady rule.
It's the worst case scenario. You were right. I should have traded Rojo last week.
I told you.
I didn't know what to trade him away for. I don't know even what I would.
Leonard Fournette's not bad. He's a good running back.
Is he? Like,
he is. He's just a head case.
Make that your official stance is that Leonard Fournette is a good running back.
He is a good running back.
Okay, I just wanted not very efficient last year.
No, I think he's
very inefficient in the red zone.
I think he's just not a very pleasant person to be around and be a teammate of. I think he's a baby, but I think he's good at running the football.
Oh, that hurts Rojo so much.
Stephon Diggs, 13 targets, 8 catches, 153 yards, and a touchdown. Again, against another bad defense, but Josh Allen liking Stephon Diggs. I think how many targets is that through 2 weeks? That's like
I
think he had another 12 targets.
Ran into the Diggs buzzsaw, and that's the league where I need Josh Jacobs to have about 150 points so I can get back into it. But
Gesicki.
All right, the Gesicki Yicky Yicky.
Yep, 8 catches, 130 yards, and a touchdown.
I think
11
that's
targets.
exactly what I called for in our Sunday live stream. Was can we get him like 8 receptions and a touchdown a day? And boom,
there it is.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for listening. Happy to have you as a fellow Addict fan of the show.
Nick Chubb and Hunt both have been good.
On the Thursday night game that hurt
me. For Chubb, 22 carries for 124 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a catch.
Yep, I was able to overcome the deficit I was going into this week against Hunt, but that was because Saquon got hurt on the other team.
You mentioned it earlier, Julian Edelman, 8 catches, 179 yards, no touchdown. That's a day. That is a day. And how many week 1 he had?
Winning.
5 catches for 57
Edelman did
yards,
lose, but those catches were good. He made some real impressive catches.
No, absolutely. Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry, 7 for 125 and a touchdown. Really good.
So are you buying Edelman, though? Is this going to be the best game he has all year?
Pocket, Texans offense stunk, and I think Fuller's banged up.
So Fuller was weird.
Nothing new.
He kept going out of the game. He was stretching on the side. They did bring him back into the game. He had 0 targets on the game. Brandon Cooks actually showed up. We got I want to say about 14, 15 points in a full PPR. So Brandon Cooks was a guy that I was saying people were dropping him. He was trending on the drops, and I held on to him. And one of the reasons I held on to him is because I knew that Will Fuller would get hurt, because that's what Will Fuller does.
That is what he does.
And I did step in the trap in one league. I had Fuller. I had him in my lineup. Goosed me. Whack. But
yeah,
he could come back and he could have a 40-point game. That's the thing with Will Fuller, is if he's in the game, he's got that chance to give you big points, or it's either going to be a 40-point game or he's going to be injured and get you 0.
I just know as a Deshaun Watson owner, I don't like anything. I hate.
Please elaborate.
He doesn't have time to throw the ball, and I don't know, they're just not playing good football. Not productive. All right, let's move on. Tyler Higbee, 5 catches, 54 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So 3 touchdowns on 5 catches.
So
that's pretty efficient.
I'm going to jump in. I got a comment in the chat that Will Fuller is expected to miss several weeks after suffering a hamstring pull. Okay, so if Brandon Cooks did get dropped by people who were upset with his week 1 production and he's on your waivers, I'd be grabbing him.
Drew Brees just threw a pick.
All right.
Did he not just go down right there?
I think he did, but you don't often get the ball if you're a big guy on defense. You don't want to. You just want to have your moment.
Keep running.
Man. I get it.
I think I'm doing this.
I recovered a fumble once, and we were watching the films that Sunday, or the next that weekend after the game, and I'm running around on the film and jumping up and and the coach just goes, "Okay, Dortcher, we got it. You got the ball. Go sit down."
Just want to make sure you knew.
I got it. Did you guys see the ball?
Just so you know, I got it.
So I get it, man. If you're on defense and you get the ball, you just have your moment. Don't give it up.
Okay. Mike Evans, 7 for 104 and a touchdown. Really good. If you're worried about his injury, you feel definitely better about it now.
So
even with Godwin out.
Let's touch on the waiver wires for wide receivers. If Robbie Anderson's out there, I think he showed up for another. Again, he very well could have been, but he showed up again. He was in one league that I was in where a guy had to make a decision and dropped him.
62% owned.
So he's a guy that you didn't spend up for in the draft. Probably you might have picked up and you made a choice. And it's I got to drop somebody. I'm going to drop Robbie. Maybe it was just a one-time thing, because people do. He does have that reputation of being a boom bust kind of guy. And the Tampa Bay matchup wasn't great, but Robbie Anderson shows up again. I think he's for real. He's getting the targets. And again, if they don't have Christian McCaffrey, who is out for a while, and they have to only air it out, Robbie Anderson's going to get some targets. And
so here's interesting. In Yahoo, Gesicki is only 67% owned, and Jonnu Smith is only 68% owned.
Jonnu having a monster day. What do you have, 3 touchdowns or 2?
He had 2. 4 for 84 and 2.
Yeah, that was...
including the long one.
So he kind of came in. If A.J. Brown comes back, that hurts all the guys that had touchdowns.
Right.
But
I would take either of those guys over the other ones we were talking about. If
remind me the name of the wide receiver who he's just been a perennial letdown. Chris, is it?
Oh, Chris Davis? Corey Davis.
Corey Davis. There you go.
We got there.
I
started Corey Davis.
So Corey Davis is a guy. If A.J. Brown comes back, he's going to get hurt. If if A.J. Brown comes back, he's going to hurt Jonnu's kind of ability to get those touchdowns.
CMC still got you some points if you were.
Yep, he's coming back. So stash him on your
sad
IR.
about his injury. 59 yards, 2 touchdowns and 4 catches for 29 yards.
DJ Moore showed up, so if you're worried about him, I tried to acquire him in a couple places. Didn't get any takers.
I think he's got like the second highest targets in the league right now with 22.
That's a lot of targets.
It is a lot. James Robinson, 16 carries, 102 yards, a touchdown, 3 catches for 18 as well.
Yeah, I would say don't accept any crazy trade offers where somebody's trying to give you James Robinson for one of your pieces you picked higher in the draft. I think that's going to...
Let me know if this is a hot take. Deontay Johnson is an auto start.
I wouldn't say auto start. Pittsburgh has to play the Ravens twice. I don't start anybody against the Ravens probably.
Through 2 games, 6 catches on 10 targets game 1 and 8 catches on 13 targets game 2. So 23 total.
He's getting volume. He's out there. He's good. He's got good hands. Ben likes him. So I'm
auto starting Deontay Johnson all the time.
If you're making choices, you definitely shouldn't drop Deontay. You should be on somebody's roster.
Yeah, if he was your not sure, put him in. James Conner from the Ashes.
So we were wrong about
16
Conner.
were for 106 and a touchdown and a couple catches. He's still trash, and I don't want him.
I think that my worry with him is you still got to play that game of, is this going to be a game where he's good, or is this going to be a game where he gets hurt and goes out in the first quarter?
I am trading him to anybody that will give me almost his entire value.
Would you trade him for James Robinson? I would say don't do that.
Almost.
I trade him for Julian Edelman.
If James Robinson does it one more time, then yes.
Man, I don't know about that. And like I said, there's going to be some running backs that come back on that team and take away some carries from him.
Kareem Hunt or James Conner?
I'd rather have Hunt.
I'd rather have Hunt.
For sure.
Okay. I'm glad we're there. Now that we're down here, Jonnu Smith we talked about, Kareem Hunt we talked about, 10 rushes, 86 yards, touchdown, and then a touchdown receiving as well and 2 catches. Travis Kelce, he's good at football.
Yep, Travis is a stud.
9 for 90 and a touchdown. We don't even have to talk about him anymore. How many targets does he have through 2 games? 20 targets, 2 touchdowns.
Not bad. A lot of targets in that last game.
Jonathan Taylor, I don't even think he played the last quarter and a half and still had 26 carries for 101 yards and a touchdown and then 2 catches.
26 carries.
26.
Nick's rookie.
26. Derek Carr getting smushed. His head just getting smushed. Are they going to score this before half? If they tie this up before half, I'm going to be not very pleased.
Hope they have auto insurance because their car got smashed.
Tyreek Hill, I think he caught a long one. 5 for 99 and a touchdown.
Towards the end of the game, had a big reception.
Yeah, Dalton Schultz, 9 for 88 and a touchdown. We talked about him. How about David Montgomery?
Schultz. David Montgomery, coming back,
about David
showing
Montgomery
up. All right, David, I grabbed him late in a couple leagues. He had the groin injury, so
David Montgomery, James Conner, rest of the season.
David Montgomery.
Ooh.
By a lot. Like, do you think it's even close? Do you disagree?
I don't disagree at all.
All right, so
I'm shocked.
Dow Bears getting the win.
Oh my God.
Unfortunate that Saquon had that big injury against them.
Bears.
So we saw it, but David Montgomery showing up, had a little concern, went off the field, went into the locker room, got checked out for a neck injury. You don't want to hear neck injuries.
Not the neck.
Those can be lingering and really shut guys down. But
right.
Came back out, played some more, led the Bears in receiving, correct?
I believe so, yes. With 40. No, I don't think he did. Not with 45
through the
yards.
majority of the game, I know Nick kept bringing up in our live stream that he was leading the Bears in receiving, but Allen Robinson kind of disappointing. Not goose.
It's fine. They did it other ways. David Montgomery just put the whole team on his back, and I think this is his best game as a Bear by far.
Yeah, it was impressive. He showed up.
Really, him and Trubisky were the only 2 bright spots, and I don't want to say it again, and I want to move on. Robbie Anderson, 62% owned. To come familiar, 9 for 109.
Yeah, but how many targets did he have?
10.
10 targets. So if Robbie Anderson can get 10 targets, he's going to be able to do some things.
If Robbie Anderson gets 8 targets game 1, 10 targets game 2, that's a buttload.
Yeah,
for Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson usually gets 3,
and I think
he's still fantasy relevant with 3.
I think they're only going to need to pass more.
I'm picking up Robbie Anderson. He is not an auto star for me yet, but I'm probably starting him in my flex most weeks.
Yeah, I'm going to completely agree. I think Robbie Anderson is for, again, having 2 games like that in a row.
I needed him to prove it, and I feel comfortable now because I don't think their defense is good enough that they're not going to need to throw the ball.
It would not have shocked me at all if he came out and had like 2 points. And to see him get that many targets.
Robbie Anderson or Gallup, who would you start? So here's the thing. I was worried.
I'm going Robbie Anderson.
Early season, we're like looking through these things. Okay, there's no way this team, can have two good receivers. There's no way this team can have, like Jacksonville. They're not even going to have one good receiver, let alone two. Well, we're learning now that there's a lot of fantasy relevant players that, especially yesterday, there was a lot of points scored. So Gallup, who, CeeDee Lamb is next on my list here with 6 catches for 106. Gallup is so good. Honestly, I'm probably starting Robbie Anderson until proven otherwise versus Gallup.
I'm going to agree. I think I'm firing up Robbie in most spots.
So Dallas's upcoming schedule against Seattle, Cleveland, New York, and Arizona. Arizona's defense has been showing up. The Giants, not great. Cleveland Browns, not great. Seattle's been solid.
Pretty good.
So, yeah, I'm probably just going to fire up Robbie Anderson, who is going against... maybe not. Chargers, then the Cardinals, then Atlanta, then Chicago.
You like him in that Atlanta game.
Yeah, the rest of the schedule is a little rough coming up.
Chicago hasn't been great.
So you guys saying Lamb over Gallup right now. Honestly, I'm a little worried to start. I don't know if I can make that call right now.
I think you could flex either of them, but it could.
I agree.
It wouldn't shock me if it was either one or the other that has a big game.
I don't want to more than flex either of them. If I'm relying on one of them as my week in, week out wide receiver 2, I'm less confident.
Amari Cooper was banged up this past week, and if Amari Cooper goes down,
they could
starting
both go
either
nuts.
of those guys.
I'm starting both
high.
of them.
I'm starting them in my starters.
Even if I have both of them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, Robbie Anderson's upcoming schedule is booty. But at the end, he goes against Denver, Green Bay, Washington, New Orleans. So, and a week 13 bye week. Is that a thing?
It looks like it.
So the final week of the season, he's got a bye week.
Lucky bye week.
Interesting. Very interesting. All right, moving on. Let's go over a couple more, and then it looks like they kicked the field
final
goal.
week of the season.
The final week of the fantasy season. Didn't know Sutton had a torn ACL and was out for the year. Yeah. The week 2 reckoning. We're watching Solomon Thomas get carted off the field as well. Mo Alley Cox, we talked about early. Hopkins, 8 receptions, 68 yards, and a touchdown.
A good outing, but not
pretty good.
Didn't devastate you like the first week.
Yeah. What about Chase Claypool? I mean, he did most of it on a 84. Actually, he did all of it on 84.
Yeah, is that one big
Let's
reception?
Move on. So,
a little bit of fool's gold.
Average.
Don't just run out for Claypool, I would say.
Zeke didn't get a whole lot of running room, but he still got 89 yards on the ground, a touchdown. But he did get 6 catches for 33 yards. He did lose a fumble, unfortunately. And I think that kind of wraps it up. We got Miles Sanders with a good week. DK Metcalf.
Metcalf was a beast, man. He was going against a tough cornerback.
4 catches, 92 yards, and a touchdown.
DK is consistent. A guy that will be on my fantasy teams next year. I didn't get him anywhere this year, but I've been impressed.
Him and Russell Wilson on my team.
Russ is cooking. Stop it, Russ.
Hayden Hurst, good week, 5, 7, 2, and a
so if you
touchdown.
had Hayden, he wasn't great the first week, got like 8 points, and now he showed up. So I think you can fire him up. Atlanta's going to throw. That's what I've been saying. I'm going to stick with it. Atlanta, going to blow it on the onside kick and lose the game. And then they're going to throw some more.
Scroll down here. Through 50 players, we're still at, Melvin Gordon at the bottom at 70 yards rushing, 2 catches for 14 yards and a touchdown. So that's still... 70. That's still 14 or 15 points. So there's a lot of points scored this week.
Dalvin Cook ended up all right, but he was worrying some owners through a good chunk of that game.
Most guys that didn't get hurt were okay for you.
Hold on to your Dalvin. If you did lose, let's say you lost your stud running back,
right?
Maybe you go out and grab a handcuff. Maybe you grab Tony Pollard. Maybe you grab Alexander Madison. And not to say that you're hoping for injuries, but just knowing that if one of those guys goes down next week, then you're back in it. All of a sudden, your team that had no hope, if they got Alexander Madison starting for the Vikings, if they got Tony Pollard starting for the Cowboys without those other guys there, then all of a sudden you're right back in the league.
All right. Tell me if this is crazy. Joe Burrow is an every week starter.
I believed more in Joe Burrow than you did going into this fantasy season, and
I don't trust rookie quarterbacks.
I think if you're looking for a guy, and let's see. So let's say you did have Garoppolo or Drew Lock or something. Right. Probably not, but that's a great pivot if you can get to Burrow. Goff has shown up and been pretty decent.
So in our scoring format, I think we had
Minshew. Again, we talked about Minshew. Minshew's got a soft part of his schedule coming up here in the next couple of weeks where he's got some good matchups. So I'd probably actually go for Minshew. And I just like to watch
We had
it.
14 quarterbacks score 30 or more points in our league. Big weeks.
There you go. Talk about Cam Newton and his just never-ending touchdown running machine.
Without looking at this list, how many quarterbacks threw for 300 or more yards this weekend?
7.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
All right. So more than I thought.
And there's 2 with
Herbert throw over?
Like 14
I didn't
short.
realize Herbert had that many
Yeah,
yards.
Herbert had 311.
Good for him.
Roethlisberger had 311. Mahomes had 302 somehow.
And Cam threw for 400, right? Cam under the tutelage of.
Nope, not quite. 397.
Oh, I knew he was right up around there. Cam,
couldn't
that's
quite get there.
more. If you had told me, like, will Cam throw for over 350 yards in a game all season for the Patriots, I would have said no.
Hell no.
With N'Keal Harry and Julian Edelman, that's a phenomenal
Cambo
amount of
Rambo.
yards.
Herbert looks legit. I hope he replaces Tyrod from now on. Yeah, I completely agree. He looked really good. I was watching the Hard Knocks episodes. I don't know if you guys watched those at all. He's got a cannon. He just launches the ball, and the ball comes out so clean. So clean.
If they don't start Herbert and they lose their next game and they blew this game because they didn't decide to go for it on that fourth down, even if you don't get it, like you have to go for that fourth down.
What was the blonde kid's name on Remember the Titans? Sunshine. Justin Herbert.
No, man, Justin Herbert looks more like
it's Sunshine.
Disgruntled.
just the way he talked on the show, he's got that SoCal. Like,
he's got kind of I don't know.
He's got an air about him.
But I'm not going to go that route with it. But yeah, if they start Tyrod Taylor and lose next week, I fire that coach. Whoever made that decision, you can't do it. You cannot do that.
More shocking, Cam Newton throwing for almost 400 or Teddy Bridgewater for throwing for almost 400.
Bridgewater, I've been more high on Bridgewater than a lot of people. I thought he was a sneaky kind of
Cambo.
to be
I mentioned that earlier. He got smoked, and the other dude didn't get up. I love that. But he's 6'6" and like 260 pounds, so he's a big fella.
But again, he's got kind of the same thing as the Falcons, where
your
defense isn't very good, and so you're going to be behind, and you're going to have to throw the ball.
Right.
And I think that the receivers in Carolina are pretty decent, and I think that Teddy Bridgewater is pretty good.
What about old man Frank Gore?
Frank Gore, I didn't even look at his stats.
20.
Because
He's the oldest running back ever to get 20 or more carries in a game at 37 years old. I saw that stat earlier.
Frank, we love you, but maybe after this year, you just hang up the cleats.
21 for 63.
No. Hard pass. Hard pass.
Man, what a stud. Aaron Jones, we mentioned earlier, Fournette. Let's see if we had any not so good. Austin Eckler, 16 for 93 yards and 4 catches for 55.
You feel better about that than his first game. They got him more involved. They had him getting some reception work.
Yeah, Dalvin, you're going to be pretty disappointed until he got that touchdown.
That check comment, I couldn't agree more with. I made the mistake. I touched
Don't
the
touch
Jets.
the Jets.
Don't touch the Jets. I grabbed Lev.
Hands off.
I thought I got him at a value
Forever.
in a auction draft, and it was not a value.
Man.
It was a terrible, terrible decision, and I regret it.
And I regret everything. Mark Ingram, 55 rushing yards on only 9 carries and a touchdown.
Mark Ingram had, if you saw his touchdown, it was like a direct snap to Ingram where he got a good block and took it in up the left side and into the end zone.
That was his only play.
They had Lamar Jackson split out. I wonder if they have a version of that play where they do throw it to Lamar Jackson. So
I'm sure.
I will predict, hot take right now, that Lamar Jackson has a reception for a touchdown before the end of the year. But, hey, Ingram is still a good player. He's talented. They are kind of going full running back by committee, RBBC. And they had Gus Edwards involved more than you hope to see him if you were the J.K. Dobbins or the Ingram owner.
Absolutely.
But, again, they had that game pretty well in hand, so they could go ahead and put Gus in because, why get your good guys banged up when you didn't need to?
Melvin Gordon salvaged you a decent day with the touchdown in the air.
That's what Melvin does.
Yep. CEH, 10 carries for only 38 yards, but he had 6 catches for 32 yards.
Yeah, not time to panic. He'll have better days.
Yeah.
They just had a
bad game.
Down day against the Chargers with a good defense.
Joe Mixon, you panicking? 4 catches, 40 yards, and 16 carries for 46 yards. So 8.6 points on the week. Actually, 12.6 in PPR.
Yeah, no, my policy on Mixon,
Not up in here.
no thanks.
Hard pass. I like Mixon.
If I could get him for cheap from somebody who's tilting just because he is a starting running back on a team who is healthy, maybe I give up a middling piece, but
I think I saw that Antonio Gibson received 67% of the running back shares. They played Gio too much. Yeah, I don't know why they think Gio Bernard is like a good running back.
no, and I think they had
Give it to
McKissick
Mixon.
getting
Mixon's
some
good.
balls and
So
you're talking
Gibson,
about the other one.
yeah.
Gio was in at the late game doing some of the reception work. I don't know why they don't think Mixon can
I'm
catch.
in shambles. At least he's healthy. Traquan Smith or Gage for fantasy. Slime Bronx ass. I'm going Traquan. I'm going Russell Gage. I don't think.
While Michael Thomas is out, I'll go Traquan, and then as soon as he comes back, I'll go Gage.
Yeah, I think long term, I'm going Russell Gage.
But I think you can start spot Traquan while Mike's out.
Yeah, if you want to hold somebody on your roster, what about if it's keeper? If it's keeper on waivers and you could keep him for next season, who are you taking?
Neither. Now I'm going to get another keeper. I'm going to keep another guy on my team. Okay. If I have to pick one, I'll say Traquan because he's hot right now.
Julio hamstring injury, though.
Yeah, he had that one drop that looked bad. It probably just hurt his heart more than his hamstring. He'll be back. But the other thing about the Mixon owner, I'll say, is this is how it started last year.
And Julio doesn't sit out games.
He started badly. People had dropped him. People were getting rid of him, and then he came on at the end of the year. So I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it could.
It's interesting enough that
you
Drew
stick with
Brees,
him.
even last year, only had. I mean, he really only threw it to Michael Thomas. There was not a second wide receiver that was.
You're keeping
startable.
Joe Mixon over James Conner, correct?
Oh,
Easy.
they're not even in close.
Hey,
categories.
Slime Bronx, thanks for the follow.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yep.
Welcome to the
Love to
Addicts.
have you in the chat.
But yeah,
Hang out, watch some football.
on that Gage call. DeAndre Swift, 5 carries for 12 yards and 5 catches for 60 yards. Is this going to be a common game script with more targets than rushes?
That as the season goes on, Swift's going to get more and more involved. I think, again, he still had that little injury that I don't know how much it's still affecting him. I think Adrian Peterson's going to get, he's just an older guy. He's going to probably slow down a little bit. So I like him to come on as the season goes and Peterson to fade.
Adrian Peterson only had 7 carries for 41 yards.
That's still too much. And then Kerryon Johnson, I believe, did he have a touchdown?
Kerryon Johnson did have a touchdown.
And then nothing else?
Then
I
nothing
think that,
else.
yeah, so
much.
just gave him a touchdown to take away from Swiss fantasy value.
Pretty much as far as the no Jets touch, we're going to take the no running backs on Detroit yet.
Where do you put Matt Patricia? Is he the second worst coach in the NFL after Adam Gase?
It's got to be Gase first, right?
Yeah, I'm going with Gase first.
And then I'm going Dan Quinn. And then I'll go with probably Matt Patricia.
Man, I think Matt Patricia is
I went
on
to
the hot seat.
I went to the Falcons subreddit, and they were just in full meltdown mode. The first 4 posts were all fire Dan Quinn.
You have to actually. So I'm going to stand up for Dan Quinn just in this past game. You got to put it all on the hands team. They did what they needed to do to win. Like they had their offense was going.
No. It's the coach.
Again, their defense is bad. They don't have good defensive players.
Okay, but that's a coach skill. That's not
to
even
get
that's a
defensive
hard
players?
play. It's not they didn't handle it right. They just sat there and waited and didn't know the rule. That's poor coaching. If your team's not prepared for the type of situation,
knew the rule.
Then why didn't
Surely
they get
they
it?
had told them.
They didn't, though.
Everybody that
They
was
obviously
watching knew the
We
rule.
knew, but they didn't.
They know the rule, but
Obviously
they just
not. Why did they touch it then?
Football. Like, grab the football.
Okay, in the chat, do you think they knew the
Oh,
rule?
yes.
They were all sitting there. One guy's like, "I'm not sure about this." The other guy's like, "I'm not sure about this." And then nothing. Nobody touched it. They waited for it to go 10 yards, and then they went for it.
That's not on the coach.
It doesn't
That's
make
on the
sense.
players.
Hey, yo, how about them Cowboys?
Hey.
Everybody's fine now.
All
Pocket,
right.
you think they knew the rule? I think they completely blew it.
So the Cowboys have the Seattle Seahawks next week. Who do you have in that game?
I hope it's just fireworks.
I
hope it's a repeat of this game.
It could very well. I think that the Seahawks defense is so much better, and they're going to shut the Cowboys down and step on their throats, unlike the Falcons, who just let them hang around.
Yeah.
And then it was
Seahawks
like, would you like
for
this
real.
football? Because I don't want to touch it. Like, maybe it has COVID on it. Like, better not touch the football.
Oh, I made a mistake.
I tell you what,
They
though,
blew it.
nobody can look so good one drive and so bad the next drive like the Seattle Seahawks. It's like they'll have 2 good drives in a row, and then it's just brutal. Just a couple sacks, and they just
Most of their
Not
drives look pretty good. I think you're getting greedy
enough of them
with the Russell Wilson.
I'm not
owner
complaining
over here.
about the production at all. What about Chris Carson? 23 carries, 93 yards. That's not.
That's
right.
pretty neat.
That can't be right.
Yep, I like Chris
That
Carson.
can't be right.
I tried to get him where I could. I got him in 2 leagues, I believe. One is our co-managed league.
Man, oh man.
So we lost Christian and maybe Devontae Adams in that league, so that hurts us. But luckily, hopefully, Kenny G can come back. We can throw him in.
19 points
and
for this
David Montgomery coming on. We can put him in. So we're gonna be okay.
It's gonna be fine. Falcons blew it. It's on the players for lack of awareness.
Thank you.
Is it on the players or is it on the coach? It's got to.
He just answered that exact question in the chat. It's
I
on
know.
the players, man.
Man,
If they
All
jump
right.
on that ball, the Falcons win,
Fine.
and you feel good about their coach.
Yeah.
At least beating the Cowboys would have been a huge win for their organization.
Isn't the coach responsible for the players though?
Not them being boneheads and not picking up the ball.
But isn't that just knowing the rule and knowing
I'm
to
sure
do it?
that the coach told them, "Hey, you guys are the hands team. You need to use your hands to get your hands on the ball."
Somebody's got to get fired over that.
No, maybe the guys
It's
who
like
don't
national
jump
treasure
on
at
the
the
ball.
end. Somebody's got to go to jail. You know,
Oh, I disagree. Like that's on them. I think that the Falcons coaches almost pulled off a big win against the Cowboys. You give them a little bit of credit.
I don't know.
They're going to have better matchups. They're going to win some games. But again, I called it before. I think they're going to be great for fantasy, bad for NFL, and miss the playoffs.
Defensive pass interference, and it looks like they were going to Brian Edwards again. So it looks like the Raiders are at midfield.
Sweet.
already.
Pocket says, no one's seen an onside kick like that. No one knew it could curve in there.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think they were ready for that type of kick. And then since it was on the ground from the get-go, they weren't sure what to do instead of just grabbing the frickin' ball. I mean, what's the worst case? Even if you just grab the ball there and they say, you weren't supposed to touch that, they just get the ball from the 50-yard line. Who cares?
So if you dive on that ball and then don't get it, and then the Cowboys, then they can grab it after your guys have touched it.
Unless they were going to try and say like the ball was going to stop before the 10-yard line and they wouldn't have to touch it at all. That's really your only other
Even
excuse.
if you could have batted it out of bounds, it was a very well kicked onside kick, and it was goofy. I'm going to give Greg the leg a lot of credit. It was. If that's what he was trying to do, it was a phenomenal job.
Yeah, I didn't think it was.
I didn't think it was going to get exactly. I didn't think it was going to go 10. So that might have been what was in those players' heads. Is this ball doesn't look like it's going to make it to 10 yards? We're going to wait for it to stop.
We don't have to worry about
it.
getting smoked trying to grab it.
That is actually, honestly, now that we have kind of broke it down, probably exactly what was happening.
That's what I figured what happened. But you got to grab the ball. You're the hands team. You're in the freaking NFL.
You are so dumb.
Grab the ball. Secure it.
really dumb.
I don't get it. Darren Waller with another catch.
No, stop it, Darren.
He actually had 2 already in the second
No
half.
more, please.
7 catches for 68 yards. So he's got you almost 14 points in PPR.
That's not good. So I am winning. It's 153.74 to 149.38. I'm still up. It gives me a 24% chance to win. I need Waller to just go sit down.
Go away.
And he also has Lutz. So Lutz, if you want to just bank one off the bar.
And who do you have?
I got nobody, man. My team is Dunzo.
Ooh. We just had.
That's the league where I got Saquon, so I could really use this. I'll go 0-2 and lose Saquon today if I lose this. Ugh.
We're going to start calling you Owen. Who just caught this pass? Not that one. I thought it said Moreau. There it goes. Foster Moreau catch for 31 yards. So I think the Raiders are almost in the red zone now. That was the Waller catch. Yeah, so they're going to be in the red zone now. What would you like to see from the... There it is. I want to see Ruggs catch a touchdown pass.
Yeah, big play to Ruggs would be good. I like that. I got Ruggs on a team.
They are probably coached not to touch it before 10 yards. Again, I don't know that that's good coaching then. Should I go Davis or McKinnon as priority 1 on waivers? Or do you have the number 1 spot? If you have the number 1 waiver spot, do you need a running back right now? Because I don't know.
You might not blow it on either. I like McKinnon out of the 2, especially like if you lost your running back.
Yeah, I'd take McKinnon if I had to.
The only thing is if you are the CMC owner and you get Davis and he can get you through, then, as soon as he becomes irrelevant is when your other guy that you want to play better comes back.
If I'm just going to stash him on my bench, I'm not blowing my
No, if
high
you're picking
priority.
him up, you're going to have to pay like you want him and need to play.
If you need to start him
probably.
this week, then I'd rather.
But I like McKinnon. I think that the 49ers are going to run the ball, and that's going to be their thing, and they're going to do it all the time, just often, early and
That's all
often.
I've done so far.
Yeah, even more so now that
Besides
their
Jordan
quarterback's
Reed.
out.
And they're playing the Giants and who's next on their schedule? Giants, then Eagles, then Dolphins, then Rams.
So that's
a pretty
good.
soft schedule.
The Rams' defense has actually looked good, but
It's been okay, but I would love to go against the Giants and the Eagles right now.
yeah, the Eagles, you were right. Don't draft any Eagles. I'm hoping Miles Sanders can just avoid the trash and be good.
Oh,
But the
lost
Eagles-
Saquon and CMC in another league. How did you have both? Was it a keeper or some type? That's brutal.
That's devastating.
We're sorry to hear that.
Disappointed!
Best wishes. Different league. Okay, gotcha. Josh Jacobs up the middle, no gain on the goal line. So 3rd and goal on the 1. Who punches it in? So Darren Waller, we said earlier, 7 for 68. Brian Edwards, 2 for 48. Hunter Renfrow, 2 for 20.
Is that Josh Jacobs carrying the pile like a man?
Nothing.
Oh.
No dice. So how many different receivers is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
That was a great
10.
run by Josh Jacobs. He carried like 8 guys on his back.
10. So 20 receptions to 10 different receivers. That's too many. That's too many for fantasy football.
Man, just driving the legs. That was one of the more impressive. So many guys on him.
You're not going to like the next rush.
Oh, no.
No, he just gets stuffed.
Oh, okay. As
Nothing-
long as it's
nothing
not
terrible.
Waller.
He
they
gets
end
carted
around.
off of the field.
No. Please, no. Oh, he's close. Maybe
Oh,
they'll
actually-
review that. He might get in.
Derek Carr fumbles on the next play.
Feels like a lie.
No, it's not. It says right here.
Faking him out with a decoy.
Aborted, it says.
That's
How
a harsh way
direct.
to say
How,
it.
how direct
man.
is that? Win probability is given
No,
the
different league. So I
Bears
lost Saquon in
5.5.
2. I lost Saquon in 1. I lost CMC in 2. Yeah, he just part of fantasy football, though. We'll get through it. We'll figure it out. Comb the waivers, make some trades. Right back on it.
what about, I know I have him in one league and then we have him in our shared league. Kenny Galladay. Are you excited to see him coming back?
If Kenny
Probably
G
this week.
comes back, yeah, you're definitely psyched if you can get a guy that's his level, that you had to take high in a draft if he comes back. Marvin Jones did have a touchdown this past week, but yeah, the Lions have not looked good. They've been very Lionsy.
So through 2 weeks, your highest point scorer right now is Aaron Jones.
Ooh, and that was largely on last Sunday's game.
Yeah, because week 1 he
And
had
who's number
7.
2, Nick?
Calvin Ridley, followed by CMC, followed by Nook Hopkins.
Your guy.
I like him. Zeke Elliott,
Still
Devontae
okay on the
Adams,
Cardinals.
Raheem Mostert, Stephon Diggs. I'm noticing a trend here. A lot of these guys are on my team.
There you go.
Who
That's
would've
because you
thought-
watch the show, man.
I am the show.
You're here with me,
I
and you
am
hear all
the
my
show.
great advice. Then you take it and you build a good
That's
team.
funny. I'm not the one who lost CJ Uzama.
Oh, CJ, I'm so sorry.
Oh,
Oh, no.
All right. So who are on this list here? Who do you think you should target that still won't cost their full value? Do you think you can get Calvin Ridley for less expensive than his current value?
No chance. Calvin Ridley, he's on all my teams. You can't have him. He's mine. So you got to go down to the guys that you don't even pay attention to. I'm talking like Antonio Gibson. Does he intrigue you, Gibby?
Good luck, brothers.
No, not interested.
Not interested. He
Not
kind of showed up a
interested.
little bit. I think he might get some traction, get going. But those are the kind of guys you have to buy, those guys that haven't broke out. Like Zach Moss, there might be brighter days for him. He's still getting some touches. Even if you
Right.
get him or Singletary on that team, they might give you more production than some of the guys that you're picking up off these waivers.
All right, I have an interesting one for you here.
I'm too worried about Ronald Jones.
Darius Slayton had a
Darius
really good
Slayton.
week 1, 6 receptions for 2 touchdowns. This week, only 3 for 6. He doesn't have the name yet. Are you interested in purchasing Darius Slayton?
I am, especially with Sterling Shepard going out with an injury. I believe he had a foot injury. I think it was a turf toe, could miss multiple games.
Here's his next schedule: San Fran, Rams, Dallas, Washington, Philly, Tampa Bay, Washington, Philly again. Maybe wait 1 week and let him play San Fran.
I think, yeah, you could make an offer for him now. I don't know if he's a guy that I want to start all the time, though. He might be just a good, depth piece.
Okay. Any worry about Juju after only 7 for 48 this week and Deontay Johnson have a really good?
No, I think you're pretty
Really
good
good
with
day.
7 for 48 for Juju. He's still getting 8 targets. He has that potential to be the red zone guy. Ben likes him. I think you're pretty happy with Juju so far. Coming out, you're wondering if it was going to be a repeat of last year. But if Ben stays healthy, then Juju I still like.
Robert Woods, you worried at all after only 2 catches for 14
Well, he
yards?
got paid, so now he doesn't have to work that hard. But no, Robbie Woods I
seem to
still
work
like
like
a
that.
lot. If you could get him, I'd be psyched to get him. I've got him on a couple teams. I feel good about him. A lot of those kind of middling receivers that scored you like 10, 11 points this week, I'm definitely feeling pretty good about those guys.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of guys that I'd be panicking on for wide receivers. Paris Campbell with the knee injury, I dropped him all over. If you were holding on to him, I wouldn't wait for him to come back. I'd move on to greener pastures.
We mentioned earlier, but I still like Deontay Johnson. What do you think it would cost you to get him?
It would depend on your league, but Deontay Johnson, I think, man, if you could, so you like him better than Robbie Anderson by a good amount?
I wouldn't say like a huge leap, but I do by a decent margin.
Yeah, I think Robbie Anderson's a guy you could offer for a guy like Deontay Johnson if you had Hawkinson, or if you manage to pick up one of those tight ends those first weeks and you find a guy that needs a tight end that has him.
Deontay Johnson or Keenan Allen?
Oh, I like Keenan Allen, actually. I'm going to
Deontay
hold on to
Johnson
Keenan Allen. I hope Herbert's the guy also because I have a Keenan Allen share. And he had, I think, about 15 points this week, so he did better with Herbert than with Tyrod.
Okay.
Herbert looked far superior in multiple facets than Tyrod Taylor the first game.
Deontay Johnson or DJ Chark?
Here's a question. You have Odell Beckham Jr., who just had a decent game, and Deontay Johnson's on somebody else's team. Do you offer OBJ for Deontay Johnson?
I am going to go to Campbell Rambo's comment here. Do you guys know what happened to Will Fuller this week? Gave me a big fat goose egg. I do know what happened, and it's you made the mistake of starting Will Fuller. He gets hurt. Anytime Will Fuller has a good game, you immediately trade him.
You got bamboozled.
Yeah, man, I did the same thing. I believed in Will Fuller after the first week, thought he was going to be the number 1 for the Texans, thought Brandon Cooks was still banged up, and he comes out and gives you the 0.
The goose.
Now, here's the thing, though. He's going to go out next week, and he's going to put up 32 points.
You can't start him.
I think
you can't play him. The week you start him is the week he gets hurt, and when he's on your bench, he's great.
But we did have a comment that it sounds like he's going to miss multiple weeks. But that first week he's back, like it wouldn't be the first time he's come off of an injury
Rudy.
and had a big
Thanks for
game.
swinging by. Debo should be back week 4. Maybe he would be a good pickup a week early if available. Again, I don't know if I want any of the 49ers wide receivers.
You're completely right, though. That first week he looked pretty decent. He's an athletic guy. He's got good talent. When he's healthy, it's kind of like
that's the Will Fuller experiment, though. You have a good week with him, you have to get rid of him. You have to.
I should have known.
What do you mean you should? You have to. It's a week 1 Watkins.
The Watkins,
you get rid of
Watkins
him after
did it
the
to
blow
you
up.
again. He had a great week 1. Comes out, gets 1 reception, gets hurt. He's going to be out, in and out. This and that. No points.
The only player that has been like, maybe this guy will end up being good so far has been James Robinson. Like after that, it's the guys that we thought were going to be good.
Again, Robbie's showing up. I feel good about him, but there's reasons that those guys are down there.
Yeah.
But
Don't just get Will Fuller off your team. Wait till he gets healthy and goes off, and then that's the week. Because he has enough game history that people will like him. What about AJ Green? Are you at all trying to trade for AJ Green after 13 targets?
No, he's had a lot of targets, but they're out of sync. He doesn't look that like he's made his best catches have all been out of bounds. But again, AJ Green's decent. He's around, but he could go down with an injury at any moment. The question is, does Kenny G come back, make Matt Stafford a top 10 quarterback?
Darren Waller 1-yard touchdown reception.
No, don't like that. That's going to blow me.
What? Excuse me? Pocket. Does Kenny G come back, make Stafford a top 10 quarterback again? No. That team doesn't look great right now. They're going to have to prove it. Again, we saw the hot start last year with Stafford. I still like him on my roster, but no, I'm not just putting him in my lineup regardless.
I'm going to go 2 wins and 3 losses this week in a tough week for my fantasy teams, but we will bounce back.
Looks like
I don't think
Josh
Kenny
Hill
G coming
catching a
back
pass
makes
here.
Stafford a top 10 QB. I don't think that their team's good enough for him to be that this year, even though they aired it out last year. But I do think that Kenny G could be a very usable and viable piece for your offense.
Josh Hill got hurt. Whatever they're going to do. Their number one quarterback is hurt.
Hey, Josh Hill's fun to watch.
Yeah, he's a thing. All right. So, yeah, I like Deontay Johnson. Jonathan Taylor, you're not going to be able to buy anymore. He is so expensive. What do you do if you're a Nyheim Hines owner after
you traded away OBJ and
3.4
DeAndre
points.
Swift?
Banjo, welcome. How do you feel about Thielen? I'm trading for Thielen if I can.
Thielen good. Yeah, man. He's the number one read in that offense.
Yeah, he had a really hot start last week, yesterday with like 3 for 31, I think, on the first
Here's the other
drive
thing.
or two.
The other thing about Thielen is that their defense you thought was going to be a lot better than they have shown to be. And if they're going to be down in games, they're going to need to pass it more. And that's good for Thielen. He's so far been healthy. He's looked good when he's out there. I think he's going to be hard to get if you don't have him. But if you got him, I'm keeping him. I'm starting him. I'm feeling good about it.
What about, okay, so let's say Gesicki is owned, right? And you want him.
I think that
are you trading for him? So there's a thing where, okay, Gesicki had a really blow-up week. Well, you may still be able to trade for him even though he had a really good week because he could keep doing it. He's one of the players that I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up as a top 5 tight end this year.
Yeah, we talked about his athletic scores and how he's just a freak athlete. He's like in the 99th percentile.
I know, Rudy. It's been brutal.
In his speed, strength, that kind of things, agility. And he's one of their team right now. Devontae Adams Parker has been nursing a hammy. He did have a catch, I think, for a touchdown.
Yeah,
but he's still not been 100%. They've got the undrafted rookie, I believe, who's got some hype. Preston Williams. But he's one of the guys that is the most talented and I think will command a higher target share.
or Noah Fant rest of the season?
With Denver's quarterback going down, Sutton,
Drew Lock wasn't that great.
So Sutton being gone, it opens up some more targets in that. So I think that's good for Judy and Fant. I don't know. I'll have to see a little bit more of their backup quarterback, but he actually was pretty good. Was it? Let's see.
He caught a touchdown.
What's the new quarterback? I forget. It's
Driscoll.
Yep. I got a plan. Driscoll. He actually looked okay when he came in relief.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go with Gesicki I think for those high upside possibility games.
What if you're a Mark Andrews owner?
You're not panicking if you got Andrews. You're keeping Andrews.
1 for 29.
You're not looking for another tight end. That whole game scripted that game. Lamar had less points.
Not so good.
They just didn't need to do a lot because they just ran over the other team.
Keenan 7 for 96. You can always buy Keenan Allen, can't you?
Yeah.
Are you guys in or out on Mixon, buy low candidate, or lost cause? I don't mind having Mixon on my team. I think Mixon's going to cost you too much just with all the running back injuries
with
now.
Where he was drafted and the name, it's going to cost you more than I'm willing to pay right now. If he has another bad game or two, though, I will buy. Last season,
if you can afford him for a decent price, I think Mixon still end up as a top 12 running back.
Nah, top 20.
I'd bet money.
But last year, it was the same story. He wasn't good the first couple games, and they started to figure things out, realized they needed to give him the ball more, and then he was good. But
who would have thunk?
I thought maybe Burrow would come in and just be throwing it to him more, but that hasn't seemed to be the case. Again, it's discouraging that Gio Bernard was in on that last drive when they were trying to get the touchdown.
I think Mixon, you just have to get him rolling. If you give him 20 touches, he'll get you over 100 more often than not. It's just you got to get him to use it. It's like Derrick Henry. You just got to keep going to it.
He's just not built like Derrick Henry to take that kind of beating, I don't think.
He's still a big boy.
Big, but he's not.
Check up his.
He's Derrick Henry.
What's his physical profile?
All right, I'll pull up the profile.
Derrick Henry is a truck.
You go back to the chat. What do they want to know?
What about Tyler Boyd? 7 catches for 72 and a touchdown.
Boyd's good.
Here's another target I may be looking to trade for. He had a good game this last week, but with H.A. Green, like you said, getting a lot of target share, but not a whole lot of catches, I wouldn't mind having Tyler Boyd on my roster, especially with T. Higgins as well.
Joe Mixon.
With an injury,
he's 6'1", 228 pounds, so he's roughly my size, like an inch taller than me, about the same weight.
But for a running back, that's
And I
Pretty
feel
tall.
like I'm a sturdy guy. So
You don't look sturdy, Mike.
but here's what I'll say. I'm no Derrick Henry, and
No.
neither is Joe Mixon.
What's
At
Derrick
that
Henry's size?
Oh, he's 8 feet tall, 900 pounds, made out of
The
titanium.
Derrick 150. Jordan Reed we talked about earlier. What about Adam Humphries? Out there 5 for 48 and a touchdown. Last week 6 for 47.
So Derrick Henry is 6'3", 247 pounds. So 3 inches taller than me, and my weight before the keto diet. And man, it's just
And
a lot
2
of
weeks
muscle.
after.
A lot of muscle. I'm guessing his BMI, he has a BMI of 30.9. So
He's a thick boy.
is. And again, there's a lot of these guys when if you actually look up their player profile numbers,
Right.
they're not as far apart as they look on television. Like CH and Jonathan Taylor, they're not crazy far apart on numbers, but they look like just markedly
Strangely
different.
Yeah. Just
I think they
proportion.
fudged CEH's numbers, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, his
To make him
stuff.
look bigger?
Yeah, I want to look up what they have in here, but he looks small out there. He looks like Tariq Cohen size.
Alan Lazard, 3 for 45, no touchdown. Big high scoring game, but not a whole lot of points from him.
Let's see. Jammer asks, why are there so many injuries?
Yeah. I know. It's just how it is.
Football's a tough game for tough men.
Pocket, Hollywood Brown, boom or bust. I think he's going to be again, we talked about this with
That's
my
a good buy.
fantasy theory. I'm buying him there for sure. That's just how you do it in the modern NFL. You need to have boom bust guys.
Yep, he was a first round draft pick in the NFL. He was actually the first wide receiver taken 2 years ago in the NFL draft.
This week was a perfect example. If you didn't have somebody on your team go for 30 or more points, you lost.
Again, it's been a little bit that way this year, but some of those guys aren't the boom
I
bust
think
kind
it's
of
not
guys.
just going to be this year. I think it's for future years as well.
It's helpful if a guy gets 30 points on your team. I'll give you that.
But
I'll concede the point.
Right, but I don't think you can win without it. Without a quarterback going for big points and another player going for big points, we had what did we say, 8 or 9 quarterbacks throw for over 300.
Yeah,
you're throwing for 1 or 2 touchdowns when you do that every time.
A lot of quarterbacks have been showing up, getting good points.
Right, that's
actually
that's a ton of points.
The guys you drafted high, Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, they actually had quieter weeks than
I played against
you
Lamar.
expected. So
Thank goodness.
I think that'll change. So the thing about those guys that you took early is they always have that potential to go for those big points. Where some of those other guys might have one here or there. It's just hard to predict.
Right.
What's the matchup going to be where I get that from that quarterback?
What about Jordan Akins?
No thanks.
No? Okay, so I will say last year there was a little bit of hype of him in camp. Didn't have a great season. Had a couple of good catches during the year, but he was kind of like the underground player to watch in dynasty forums. This week had 7 for 55. I'd keep an eye on that with not a whole lot of great targets. It doesn't seem with Fuller hurt and Kiki not great and Brandon Cooksing.
Brandon Cooks actually showed up, man. He had some points.
Keep
He
my
was
eye
good.
on.
I think Brandon
he
Cooks.
He did okay.
If Fuller's out, I like Cooks. I actually probably start Cooks in some spots.
Cooks,
if
I think, is
Fuller's
a
out
pretty
next
good
week.
buy low candidate.
Yeah.
And I think maybe the best buy low candidate right now, besides maybe Hollywood Brown, if you can get him, is DJ Chark. 4 catches for 84 yards. Last week, 3 catches for 25 yards and a touchdown. So he's still gotten points. He's gotten you the floor, but he has really good days to come.
Yeah, as soon as you pick up Cole, as soon as this week when he goes high on the waivers,
Right.
then it's going to be a DJ
So
Chark week.
let
and
somebody
Cole will be
spend on
nothing.
Cole. If you can get DJ Chark this week, rest of season, I think you're going to be very, very happy, despite his end of schedule being Baltimore, Chicago, Indianapolis. Not
If he
great,
can get you to the playoffs,
but again,
then you'll figure it out.
Right, they're going to throw the ball a lot anyway. I think you're going to profit on that transaction if you can get him this week.
I'll agree. I actually will probably send out some offers for DJ Chark.
Yeah, Malcolm Brown, it looks like he was 5 for 42. Last week he had 5 for 101, but no scores. I think he's going to cost you more, but
So
go for Chark.
I was looking through my leagues, and if you did have your stud go down, if you lost Saquon or you lost CMC, a guy that you might still be able to make offers for and have a chance at getting who could work out for you is J.K. Dobbins. So Dobbins had less carries in this past game. I believe he had 2 carries but he averaged like 20 yards a carry.
2 carries for 48 yards.
And he broke off one big one. So if they were watching, then they might realize, oh, JK's pretty good, and he's got that giant run potential. And again, I think he's going to pick up traction, become more of the workhorse guy, get more of the touches, get more opportunities in that backfield. It's going to hurt you to try and get him that he got those 2 touchdowns the first week. But if you can sell that, like, hey, look, he only got this many carries this week, he only got this many carries, you might have to wait on him a couple more weeks to become the guy and develop. But I think it's a good shot in the dark at, like, maybe I get a stud who can actually kind of carry my team at some point if you can make it to the playoffs.
I think I know Mike's answer on this one, but Pocket asks, you guys going to buy in on Alshon when he comes back?
Oh, you mean AJ Green Light? No, I'm not going to buy in on Alshon.
Okay. I would agree unless he's free.
Hard pass.
If he's on waivers and I got a spot to blow, then maybe.
Yeah, if you can stash him in an IR, maybe. If you're just dropping a guy and picking up a guy and you don't have an empty IR spot, before you pick up that second guy, especially because some places it'll let you add a guy straight to your IR spot, but others you have to like add him to your roster and then move him to the IR.
But I have a pretty strong no Eagles rule.
And it's been serving you well so far this year because the Eagles have been a garbage fire. Everybody's hurt. Yeah. Carson Wentz was bad this past game.
If anything, I'm picking up if he's on waivers, and I think in our Yahoo League he is on waivers, actually. And the week he comes back, I would trade him for whatever I can get for him.
If you're starving,
literally anything,
starving for a running back, Boston Scott, he got
a
little hurt, went out that first game.
Don't do it.
How many targets he have in the last game?
Don't do it.
Again, I think he's
Boston Scott.
There's going to be some games where Boston Scott shows up and has some points. And also, he's backing up.
You're not going to know when to start him.
Backing up a running back who is coming off a hamstring injury.
Boston Scott. There you are. 4 carries for 19 yards, 3 catches for 24. Brutal.
Again, he got you 8 points in a half PPR. It's just somebody who's out there who will still be playing and has, I think, again, the potential to get you 10 to 15 points in a game.
I disagree.
That's fine. It's not the glory play. It's like break glass in case of emergency.
Cole Beasley, week 1, 4 catches for 58. Week 2, 5 catches for 70. You buying into the Bills' offensive juggernaut?
Nope. Wearing my mask, avoiding the Beasles.
I am in agreement. Don't want him. Marvin Jones without Galladay.
Oh, hey, Marv.
4 catches for 23 yards and a touchdown. I think the Marvin Jones experiment is pretty much done.
What week? Got a touchdown?
What week does Marvin Jones go for 40 points?
Let's look at the schedule. Maybe against Arizona.
Arizona, New Orleans. I'm going Jacksonville when nobody wants it. So Marvin Jones, Jacksonville will have 3 touchdowns.
That'll be a competitive game.
You heard it here first. Put it down. N'Keal Harry.
So if Harry's out on waivers, he's a guy who he got some targets. He had 12 targets in that game, got 8 receptions, didn't get the touchdown, but he's got a pretty good, big body who could get some of those goal line looks if they don't just let Cam run every single touchdown in. I actually like N'Keal Harry as a stash on the end of your bench. Maybe keep an eye on him.
Okay. Okay, where are we at in this game? Traquan Smith, 4 catches for 80 yards, so he's got you 12 points in full PPR. Darren Waller, 9 catches for 75 yards now and a touchdown. So
Waller, he beats me.
What has he got? 9 catches, 75 yards, 16.5 points, plus another 6. So he's got you 22.5 points out of your tight end spot. You love it on 11 targets. Another good number to see. My Saints covering this 4-point spread is not looking good. Look at him.
Plenty of time. Yeah, not time to panic yet.
Derek Carr, 13 yards short of my and Ethan's 250-yard number that we need, and Drew Brees is 47 yards short of it at 203 yards.
Yeah, but you can't overstate how much losing Michael Thomas will hurt this offense. So the Saints go from being all of a sudden a very scary offense to an offense that you can probably, you're not out of it. You got a chance in.
But if you listen to me, you didn't pick up Michael Thomas anyway, and everything's okay.
Nick was right on that one. I got to give you credit.
Cooper Kupp here, 5 catches for 81 yards, 4 catches for 40 yards. Cooper Kupp is another one I'm buying if he's cheap.
I have been a little tentative. Between the two guys, Woods and Kupp, I took Woods in every league and avoided Kupp. I think that, especially with Higbee having a large game, he's a tight end that we haven't talked about yet.
Right.
If Higbee's going to get those end zone touches, if he's going to get those looks, those receptions, Then you're worried about, because it definitely takes away from Cooper Kupp if Higbee's good. And some of the sets they use, they have, if they have the 2 tight ends out there, Everett, I think, did play, but he was banged up enough that it seemed to be the Higbee show. Then they take Cooper Kupp off the field sometimes. So I would worry about Cooper. I'd actually maybe be looking to sell him for one of these running backs and try and get somebody that I can use.
I'd take Cooper Kupp. Todd Gurley, despite the hot start last week, I think in the last 6 quarters, he's only got you like 6 or 7 points.
Hold on. I think I have a drop for Gurley. Keep talking about him.
I don't know if I'm looking to trade for Gurley or looking to trade Gurley. I'm not sure if I'm trying to cash in on the name. The team has scored points both weeks. They put up 25 points last week, which isn't great, but that's more than most teams. Then they put up obviously 39 in this one, and they were really in no rush to score the points because they had 1 billion of them.
Yeah, Todd Gurley.
So we got 21 carries for 61 yards.
Oh, he stepped on my drop.
I like turtles.
Slow, man. He's slow and he's old. He's not good anymore. Todd Gurley on a team that doesn't want to run the ball.
He's not that old.
Sell. Get rid of Gurley, man.
In the current landscape, I'm even going to buy Gurley.
In a game that goes where the teams score both 40-plus points and he has 6 points, I
just think there's going to be owners out there that are panicking and will sell him for very cheap.
I stepped in the Lev Bell spot trap on one, and I don't think I want to do it on the Gurley, the old washed running back.
Outscore Lev Bell on a per game basis.
Well, Lev Bell's not playing. He's
I said on a per game basis,
bowling in Jersey
not
right
on
now.
the season, on a per game basis. Come on, I'll make it fair.
Gurley, I'd be trying to unload the name because I don't think Gurley's gonna be. I don't think that team's gonna run. Anybody's gonna have more than 500 rushing yards on that whole team for the whole season.
And if you're looking for a deep sleeper, if this is a keeper or dynasty or anything. If you want to throw a little Darnell Mooney on your bench,
The Bears.
I don't know.
Man,
I'm feeling the Mooney.
You know why you want Mooney, don't you?
Why is that?
Big Mama's handing out biscuits, baby.
Thanks for coming to tonight's episode.
Because Mitch threw him a touchdown, man. All right.
Yeah. Both weeks, though, 3 targets, 3 catches for 30-ish yards.
If you want a piece of that Bears high-powered offense, you can just fire up your Mooney.
Man,
He's looked good, though. I got to give
good.
him a little bit of credit.
Robinson still outscored him, but not by much.
Robinson,
I think that
a disappointing
wraps up the player recaps there, I think. I don't even know if I have any more people to cover.
Yeah, I think that was a good chunk of it, a good swath. I'm trying to think if anybody else stuck out in my mind.
Chad, do you have any questions as we kind of start wrapping things up here? It looks like the Raiders are having a couple penalties here. So, yeah, anybody else that you want to talk about? Anybody that helped you, hurt you, anything you noticed? I still think the Chargers have to go with Herbert. Herbert looked too good to not start him. Joe Burrow really impressed me. I have some AJ Green shares, and I feel better about it just with the volume, just the volume alone.
So Rodrigo Blankenship, kicker for the Indianapolis Colts with 14 points, respects the specs. If you're looking for a kicker, Rodrigo.
The Cardinals defense has actually looked pretty good through 2 weeks. They were not supposed to be very good. They could be worth a look. David Johnson stunk this week and has Pittsburgh this week.
I've been out on David Johnson. I didn't want him anywhere. I didn't think he was going to be good this year. So I'll stick with it. I don't like David Johnson. And
Again, I think with Mostert being out, with Coleman being out, I guess doesn't affect it as much. Saquon being gone, CMC being gone, I don't think you're going to be able to choose. I think you need any running back that's going to get the ball a lot of times.
And I'll give you a different look. If you have David Johnson or Todd Gurley, and those guys are panicking because they just lost their stud running back, if you can sell those guys to the Saquon owner and get a good wide receiver, if you can get a Tyler Lockett and Adam Thielen, Robert Woods, I probably would unload any of those running backs.
But again, if you have David Johnson, you don't have those other running backs to cover those spots.
Find somebody. I'd rather have those wide receivers and then one of these guys off the waivers.
I wholeheartedly disagree. I don't mind David Johnson. He has not looked great so far, but I don't think you can be picky with running backs as of now. Any running back that's going to get at least 12 to 15 touches a game, I think you have to almost auto start. You disagree?
Young Ho, I believe his name is pronounced Young Wei, but this show is going with Young Ho. So, Young Ho was 17 points as a kicker. The Indianapolis Colts bounced back from their embarrassing loss with Jacksonville and get 16 points as a defense against Minnesota.
Right.
So, again, the Colts are one of the defenses that I held on to, didn't drop, and thankfully they didn't let me down. So, other than that, there's no defense this year that is just like the Patriots last year that's going to give you a huge positional advantage. You can probably stream the position, wait till after your waivers run, wait till it clears, and then you can pick them up for free without having to blow a waiver priority.
Yeah, but we're only week 2 into a season with kind of screwed up practice times and non-consistent travel schedules even. I mean, it's kind of been odd for
inconsistent, some would say.
Some. Not all. But I think it's just been weird. No preseason. I think we're still just kind of shaking the rust off. I don't know if we've seen legitimate football as of yet.
And going back to the Jammer question of why are there so many injuries, it could very well be because they had a shortened preseason because they didn't have any of those warm-up kind of games.
The ramp up to playing football was so quick.
Yeah, and I would so there is the narrative that all these guys won't remember how to play football. They won't remember how to tackle. I don't buy that, but I do buy that your body, it takes a little while to get into certain, like,
used to getting hit.
Yeah, if you played sports in high school, like that first practice was always the most grueling and awful because your body wasn't ready. Yeah. Or even if you just go to the gym and lift weights and you haven't done it for years, and you come back and the next day you feel like death. Like, it takes a while for your body to get into the shape for some of these sports and things.
Right.
And you can't kind of simulate it in the workroom or just running as the same way you can from actually playing.
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree with that. What about Joe Burrow thrown 61 times? I just want to touch on it one more time.
Yeah.
Are you buying in on Joe Burrow in Cincinnati?
I think that the passing volume will be there because they'll be playing from behind. I think Burrow has looked poised. He's made some little mistakes here and there, but he's looked, not overly flappable, not like Mitch Trubisky, just always flapped.
Always
but
flat,
hey, we'll give Mitch some credit. He's been winning games. 2 games, so the Bears 2-0. I keep wanting to say 0-2. It just my brain's used to it.
It just makes more sense.
They've won 2, so we'll try not to complain about them. But let's actually, just because I like to talk about the Bears, I think I still have that feeling that Mitch has not shown me enough that he's going to be able to beat the good teams, and I would like to see Foles out there. It's hard to take a guy out when he's been winning, but I think that's the move.
Yeah.
Just to see what you got. And then if neither of them are good, people are like, oh, you can't go back to Mitch if you put Foles in. I completely disagree. You just do it like this. Hey, Mitch, Foles isn't good. You're back in.
Okay.
It's
makes sense.
Oh, we can't, Tyrod has to get the start. No, it's like, hey, we got this other guy, Herbert. He was very good. He almost beat Kansas City, but I made a bonehead call. He's in.
Right.
Sorry, Tyrod, we like you. Just do that.
Alvin Kamara tonight also 9 carries for 60 yards and a touchdown and 5 catches for 57 yards.
Yeah, you're pretty happy.
He hasn't had I remember at the beginning of last year, you're like, he's just going to go for 40 points a game.
Oh, he had a year.
He's just going to go insane.
I can't remember if it was a year or 2 years ago.
I think it was 2 years ago.
Where he was, just like crushing
when Ingram was suspended.
Yeah.
And it was only him.
In that 30, 40 points a game
range.
And he hasn't given you that, but I think he's still got the potential for it at any time.
Pocket, do you guys think Eckler is worth where he was being drafted with Josh Kelly getting so many touches?
No.
I'll let you take that one.
I don't think he's worth where he was getting drafted. I wouldn't have drafted him there. I would probably try to trade for him for less value than what he was drafted for now. So if you could trade, again, if you were stocked at wide receiver, if you had something where you got like A.J. Brown's coming back and you got 3 other good guys that you've been playing and they've been producing, if you can trade one of them for him.
Right.
If you got an extra tight end that you picked up off the waivers, something like that, I would probably try to still get Austin Eckler. I want him on my team, but I don't want him for where he got drafted at.
Right. No, I'd agree with that sentiment. Alrighty. So in this game tonight, let's see where we're at. Are you surprised by the Raiders leading this one by 7? I
am mildly surprised, but it's all, again, you lose Michael Thomas, and I thought that the Saints would struggle. He is. I don't know if you'd say he's as important to their offense as CMC is to the Panthers, but it is close. If you're trying to pick teams where a guy is important, Devontae Adams, same kind of thing. The Packers have been putting up big points if Devontae Adams isn't there, and they go out and they put up a game like this in their next matchup. Wouldn't shock me at all. because some of those guys just make such a huge difference for their teams.
Right. Yeah. No, I would agree.
The only other thing I can think of that's a comp, it was DeAndre Hopkins for the Texans, and then they gave him away.
Just gave him away.
Yeah.
Just see ya. Thanks for coming out.
Guys, he's so important to your team.
So have you been impressed with DeAndre through 2 weeks then?
I've been impressed with him. I thought that his volume might come down. I thought they might spread it out, but they have gone to him pretty
with
good.
Michael Thomas out, who are your top 3 wide receivers?
If you count Devontae Adams out as well.
No. Just not including Michael Thomas because I think he's out. I think Devontae Adams is going to play this week, honestly.
Yeah, I'd be mildly worried about him, but if he plays, I'm putting him in. But Calvin Ridley, man. Calvin's my guy. He's been great. He's giving you no reason to think
Wait, so you're putting Calvin Ridley in your top 3?
Yeah, for sure. Top 3 wide receivers. Like, if I could just pick 3 wide receivers to have on my team right now.
So you're in the top 3 in the league. You think the best 3 wide receivers in the league right now, maybe
for fantasy, maybe not just pure talent and
no,
football.
I think it's the same.
It's different, but I'm taking Calvin Ridley. He's very, very good.
I think that's too much hype. Ridley, Adams, Hopkins.
So you're putting second Ridley most points in the NFL. He's gotten
I still see Ridley as
touchdown machine. Julio's got a little injured.
I still see Ridley as outside the top 12. Did Josh Jacobs just fumble this ball?
All that team wants to do is throw the ball. Matty Ice dropping dimes.
Who let go of that ball? Darren Waller now 10 for 83 and a touchdown.
So if Devontae's healthy, it's Devontae Adams, Calvin Ridley, and then my third one, I'm trying to think of somebody who's just shown up and been really strong.
I'm shocked.
Again.
Oh, Jalen Richard. With
classic.
the fumble.
Why is Richard in the game?
Yep.
Get Jacobs
That's
in
what you
there.
get.
Come on, man.
That is what you get for not putting Josh Jacobs in the game for every touch. And you pay the price.
Man, Tyreek Hill hasn't had the giant blow-up points, but he's actually had some just really good-looking plays when he's been playing.
Right.
I'd like to have him on my team. I'm trying to think who else has just really shown out, really been great. Godwin had the concussion, so he's been out. None of the Eagles have shown up. I'd have to think about the third one.
Hopkins?
Hopkins is probably, I'll go with Hopkins. That's a good one.
Stephon Diggs?
Diggs, I wouldn't put him in my top 3 yet, but he's been a pleasant surprise for where you got him in the draft.
Diggs has been really, really good. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I don't know. Again, we'll still put that little caveat of it's been the Jets in Miami. So we'll see if he gets up against a good defense, how the Bills look.
I would agree. Anything else as we wrap up tonight's episode? I think we can probably get out of here a couple minutes early, and maybe we can watch some of this game. Derek Carr. So they called the fumble.
In pocket pool, I didn't even see that you put Ridley Adams Hopkins. That is exactly correct.
Yes.
I agree.
That he did.
God, he's just like he's reading our minds.
Alrighty. I think we're going to end here then. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for the follows that we got tonight. I think we're going to host one of my friends. I'm going to see if this works. And there you go. I will see you all next time.
All right. Thanks for coming out. Enjoy the football.
Go football.